Do you need more proof that congressional Republicans hate Democrats more than they love their own country? Well, we've got the proof here, and it's all from the same damn night. Intrigued? Then click that like and subscribe, and enjoy the video. So as I mentioned in a video the other day, President Biden's 2023 State of the Union is a content creation machine. It is rife, it is replete with subject matter for political commentary, and we've done several videos about it, and I imagine there are several more videos coming down the pipe. It's memorable for a variety of reasons, the first of which is that Biden exceeded expectations in terms of delivery. It's one of the best, if not the best, State of the Union addresses in modern history, and perhaps the best speech that Joe Biden ever gave. It's also memorable in terms of the behavior of congressional Republicans in both the House and the Senate, because they are reacting with increasing hostility and ferocity. Under President Obama's tenure, we saw Republicans start to, become more raucous, right? One, Joe Wilson, publicly said, "You're a liar," to Barack Obama as he was giving a speech, which was unheard of. And then in subsequent speeches, they, booed and jeered more. During President Biden's State of the Union speech last year, you had Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene heckle him a bit. But this time we were seeing an escalation. So each time a Democratic president has given a State of the Union address, we've seen an escalation in terms of the hostility from congressional Republicans. A hostility that they would be seething about if it were reciprocated by Democrats to a Republican president. And as stupid and contemptible as Donald Trump was, we've never seen anything like what Joe Biden got from Republicans the other day. Donald Trump never got anything like that from sitting Democrats. So again, that asymmetry is really frustrating, and perhaps, as sad as it is, maybe Democrats should start considering becoming comparably vicious and disruptive when Republican presidents give State of the Union addresses. Food for thought. But this video is not about those aggressive outbursts from congressional Republicans. It's about a different type of contempt that Republicans demonstrated towards the president, towards Democrats, and I would argue to the American public, including their own constituents. Because repeatedly, when Joe Biden was talking about his administration's successes, which many of which were bipartisan, and his policy ambitions, many of which are also bipartisan, congressional Republicans very often refuse to applaud or stand or both, right? Indicating that they have more interest in Biden failing. They want Biden to fail so much, even if the things that Biden is pursuing or that Biden has accomplished benefit them and benefit their constituents. And we could go through the entire State of the Union. I have it on my channel where I react to this, but the New Republic has a really handy article where it describes 11 topics, good and normal topics, that the Republicans should be celebrating or endorsing, and that they didn't. It's called 11 Good and Normal Things Republicans Refused to Clap For During Biden's State of the Union. So the first one is democracy. 2 years ago, democracy faced its greatest threat since the Civil War, and today, though bruised, our democracy remains unbowed and unbroken, which I believe is the words of House Martell from Game of Thrones. Republicans didn't clap for that, even though that there was a MAGA-induced insurrection on January 6, 2021, where a fascist president tried to steal democracy, tried to make himself an unelected dictator of the United States. They refused to clap for it. I wonder why. Another one, making billionaires pay taxes. No billionaire should be paying a lower tax rate than a school teacher or firefighter. Again, you would think that that would enjoy bipartisan success because a progressive tax rate, taxing the rich more than the middle class and poor, is wildly popular, and it's even popular among right-wing constituents. But sitting members of the Republican Congress don't want to support that. Capping insulin prices. Geez, you would think we would all want diabetics to be able to get insulin as cheap as possible, especially as President Biden said, the guy who invented insulin didn't want to patent it because he thought it would be a public good. It's relatively cheap to manufacture and to put in production so that it's injectable. And yet insulin companies are making all kinds of the profit margin's huge. So he said, let's finish the job. Let's cap the cost of insulin for everybody at $35 because under the Inflation Reduction Act, President Biden was only able to get that done as a part of Medicare for seniors. He wants to do it for everybody, including diabetics who are not senior citizens or part of Medicare. But they refuse to clap. Republicans refuse to clap or endorse it. An assault weapons ban. So this one is a bit more understandable given the close association between the NRA and Second Amendment enthusiasts and the Republican Party. But you would think after the disproportionate, the absolutely ridiculous statistical amount of mass shootings and gun violence in the United States relative to other G7 nations, you would think that the Republican Congress would at least be interested in pursuing something like this. But no, even though that there was a guy, Brendan Say, at the State of the Union as President Biden's guest, he was the one who disarmed the Monterey Park shooter. I think the guy shot like 11 people, and this gentleman disarmed him. He was there. He was sitting there as a guest of President Biden in the gallery. He's like, look, this guy saved lives. It's time we do the same. Let's ban assault weapons now. Ban them now once and for all. Republicans refuse to clap or applaud. What else? Preschool for kids and giving teachers a raise. Let's finish the job by providing access to preschool for 3- and 4-year-olds. Studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 15% more likely to finish high school and then go on to earn a 2- or 4-year college degree, no matter what background they come from. Let's give public school teachers a raise. Republicans refuse to stand for that. They refuse to applaud it, even though education, as they say, is the silver bullet. It's a force multiplier. It benefits so many things. It can help us address climate change, gun violence, the wealth gap, emerging technology, right? It is the key component to everything. Cancer, fighting cancer, disease, all these things. They don't want to do that. Because, of course, Republicans or congressional Republicans believe that public school has been infected with woke ideas like slavery is bad and racism is bad, and we should probably teach people about racism and slavery in the United States and how the lingering effects, disproportionately affect certain groups of people to this day. So we can't give school teachers a raise because that's woke. That's CRT. They won't stand or applaud that. A living wage. I heard Bill O'Reilly talked to Chris Cuomo about that on News Nation just a few minutes ago. I'm so sick and tired of companies breaking the law by preventing workers from organizing. Pass the PRO Act because workers have a right to form a union, right? We even saw Starbucks within the past year do some union busting. Let's guarantee all workers have a living wage. Let's make sure working parents can afford to raise a family with sick days, paid medical leave, affordable childcare. That's going to enable millions of more people to go and stay at work, and let's restore the full child tax credit, which cut child poverty in half under President Biden. And then Republicans, all 50 Republicans in the Senate, and I think Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, so 2 Democrats, allowed it to expire at the end of 2021 or 2022. I can't remember. One of the two. No, 2021 it had to have been. Which give tens of millions of parents some breathing room and cut child poverty in half to the lowest level in history. Republicans wouldn't stand and applaud it. Jobs, this is a big one. So President Biden, under his administration, they've created 12 million jobs. 12 million jobs, which, by the way, 44 out of the 46 million jobs created in the past 35 years have been created under Democratic administrations, right? In terms of the job market, which is the single most important metric for evaluating an economy, is the employment rate, the employment level. Democrats excel at this. Democratic administrations excel at this. But even though more people are employed now than they were, Republicans don't want to endorse that either. The fact that people, not just Democratic voters, Republican voters, not just people in New York and, California, but people in Alabama, people in Kentucky, people in West Virginia, there are more people employed in those states than there were a year ago, than there were a year before that, than there were during the pandemic. And Republicans won't applaud that. Obviously, LGBTQ rights, because unfortunately there's a lot of religious bigotry in the Republican Party. Let's pass the Bipartisan Equality Act to ensure LGBTQ Americans, especially transgender young people who have an incredibly high rate of suicidality, can live with safety and dignity. Republicans have no interest in that. Congressional Republicans don't. They don't want to support it, even though it would prevent people, and especially young people, from killing themselves. Immigration reform. Let's come together on immigration, make it a bipartisan issue once again. They won't support that. Clean energy. The Inflation Reduction Act is the most significant investment ever in climate change ever, and I think across the planet in terms of raw dollars. There's no country anywhere which has invested more in clean energy in terms of raw dollars than the United States did under President Biden in the Inflation Reduction Act. It would lower utility bills, create American jobs because it would open new types of industry, leading the world to a clean energy future, to say nothing of what it would do for future generations. All these Republican Congress people have children and grandchildren who will eventually have children of their own, but again, they won't stand and applaud it. junk fees. Now, this is one that a lot of people have been mocking, but I think it's really cool because junk fees are associated with, like, you want to cancel your streaming service, there's a fee associated with it. You want to cancel your ISP, there's usually a fee associated with it. Your energy company, a fee. And so, President Biden and Democrats want to pass federal legislation so these punitive, unnecessary, spiteful fees will be canceled. And that would also create breathing room for millions of Americans. But Republicans don't support that either. So to me, it's just fascinating. The things that you think are bipartisan, all of these things affect conservatives to one extent or another. Yes, even LGBTQ issues. Yes, even junk fee issues. There are conservatives who are gay or conservatives who have trans friends. I mean, this affects everybody. All of these issues, to one extent or another, affect everybody in this country, or at least can affect everybody in this country. But congressional Republicans won't support it, won't support President Biden's accomplishments in these respects or his ambitions in these respects, because they hate Democrats and they hate Biden and they want to hurt both of them more than they love their country, more than they care about their constituents. If given the choice between hurting Democrats politically and benefiting their own constituents, you can reliably count on the Republican Party opting for spite. We even saw that with the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Yes, it was bipartisan, but really only barely, right? I think it was like 19 senators out of 50 in the Republican Party voted for the damn thing, even though, as President Biden pointed out in the State of the Union, even Republicans in Congress and in the Senate who represented states and voted against the bipartisan infrastructure bill are like sheepishly asking the president, can we get a dispensation of funds? Can we get some of that sweet, sweet infrastructure money? Even though not only did they not vote for it, they voted against it and probably actively campaigned against it and talked all kinds of smack for President Biden passing in the first place. That just goes to show where their mindset is. And you should remember that and vote accordingly.
Hey you! Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, and I hope that you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And if you absolutely hated the video, the best revenge for you is also to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. That'll teach me. If you want to share an opinion or share some feedback, go ahead and leave a comment, all right? 2023 is a year of change, hence the aggressive rebrand and commitment to new content. Inspired by my friends Luke Beasley and STV Philly, my personal goal for this channel is to hit 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So I'm hoping you'll do me a solid by spreading the word and the videos to potential fans and hate watchers alike. And in the meantime, we'll be pondering politics again with you very soon.